you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Players protesting the national anthem was the most controversial issue that hung over the NFL in 2017. And it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross said Monday, moving forward, all of his players will now be required to stand during national anthem. And after allowing players to kneel early last season, the Dolphins last October asked players who wanted to kneel to stay behind in the locker room. For more on this, we have Bill Reiter, the host of Reiter's Block on CBS Sports HQ. So, Bill, players and coaches across the league, they kneel during the national anthem last season to protest this sort of social injustice. How are players reacting to this now?
Well, it'll be interesting. The news is obviously pretty recent, but it's going to be just as divisive, this decision by Stephen Ross to require his players to stand, as this argument was across the country last year. There will certainly be players who embrace this and think it's the right move from a patriotism perspective, Rena, and there are absolutely going to be players, and I would imagine on that Miami Dolphins team, who feel like this is an infringement on their rights to express themselves and use that platform as NFL players to express what they want to express when they want to express it.
And then, Bill, there are reports from NFL agents saying that the Houston Texans won't sign any players who knelt during the national anthem. What are you hearing about that?
Yeah, and the Texans have aggressively pushed back on this report, have said that it's false and it's not true, but agents have a tendency, obviously, to know what's going on. They're the ones trying to make negotiations, and these are the kind of situations. It's never going to be a superstar where an agent's going to put their foot down or a team's going to put their foot down. It's the guys on the periphery usually, and certainly talking to people around the NFL, there's a sense and a feeling that the pressure President Trump has put on the NFL, on the owners, on the commissioner to bring an end to players kneeling during the anthem and protesting during the anthem. It's having an effect, enough of an effect that we've seen this situation in Miami, and now this report out of Houston. Even though the Texans are pushing back on it, it certainly reflects a perspective that President Trump's pressure is having an effect.
Do you think this could discourage some players from signing as free agents in Miami or Houston?
I think it could, and it really depends. It's so player to player because it is hard to make a living in the National Football League. I was talking to a journeyman player yesterday. A lot of these guys, the guys we don't talk about on CBS Sports HQ or here on CBSN, they're the ones that are trying to make it day to day, aren't guaranteed contracts, are trying to prove themselves. Those guys probably don't have the latitude to kneel during an anthem. But superstars, people who have made careers and whose value is absolute on the football field, there will certainly be some who will think twice about going to organizations that express this particular perspective.
So is there a consensus among team owners and other teams? Are they expecting people to be requiring players to actually stand?
Rena, there is no more consensus among NFL owners than there is at most Thanksgiving dinners or coffee shops when conversations turn to President Trump kneeling during the anthem and all the nuances that go into our current political and now it's sports life. No, it really is owner to owner, and you read the reports, you talk to people around the league. Owners have different perspectives on the president and on the anthem protests, and they have different perspectives on what they should do as it relates to their role as owners of a team and trying to manage players who have strong perspectives. So, no, there is the furthest thing, I think, from consensus around the league about what's the right thing, and I think it's different, what's the right move as an owner of an NFL team.
So I'm curious how the NFL is responding to this, Bill. I mean, do you get the sense that maybe Commissioner Roger Goodell will try and lay out some sort of uniform rule across the league?
I think Roger Goodell, I'll go back to the Thanksgiving dinner analogy, is going to try to do like any matriarch or patriarch, put it on a big family gathering where people feel differently, and he probably won't succeed. He's going to try to avoid it. I don't think he wants to wade into these waters trying to make decisions that require owners to either allow players to kneel if they want to or require players to stand. I think he'd probably hope, and it won't, but hope this goes away. The little we know about Roger Goodell's thinking is during all the reporting, when this was a big issue last year, he seemed to be much more sympathetic to the players' perspective, their rights to do this, than perhaps owners like Jerry Jones and others who did not appreciate the kneeling. So it'll be very interesting what direction the commissioner takes in the months ahead, especially if the pressure from the president continues to be effective.
Do you think this will have a negative impact if the issue continues to linger well into next season?
I think it will. I think you talk to, again, a very divided country on these sorts of topics that go back to the president. And there's a lot of Americans who feel like the NFL and owners who don't allow players to kneel is a reason to turn off the TV. And on the other side of the political equation, there are certainly lots of fans, and we've seen this, I think, in the numbers and the ratings from the National Football League going down, who feel like what they view as disrespect toward the flag during the anthem is enough of a reason for them to turn the television off and not focus on football as much. I think it's a very problematic issue for the league going forward.
But why do you think it is, after talking to you, I really would like some pumpkin pie and mashed potatoes?
Because we should do pumpkin pie and mashed potatoes year-round. It's my big thing.
There you go.
So good.
I'm in agreement with you there. Bill Reiter, thank you for joining us, Bill.
You're welcome.